This was a combat operation. It was called Operation Gaspin Sia. Our goal was to make the Afghan National Police Force help occupy, sweep, and clear the zones for, so that way the Taliban or the insurgency could no longer move. This man right here, obviously this handsome man's me. That handsome man right there is Corporal Bogner. I won't say his first name just to keep it secret. I don't know how he feels about it, but if you can tell on the left side of his, well, your left side, his right side, his face is very badly scarred. On July 11th, 2012, me and him were both hit by an IED. In between us were 35 Afghan National Police officers that abandoned me and him. Immediately after getting hit by the IED, we took fire, and it was just me and him. He was very badly injured to the point where his right shoulder had been dislocated. The whole right side of his face was shredded, as if someone took a cheese grater to it. His weapon was barreled down into a ravine 20 yards from him. His helmet was found 75 yards away from him. And I was found face up in a ravine after being knocked unconscious. Through all that pain, training that the Marine Corps gave me helped me get up from all the pain I had endured. I had received minor shrapnel wounds. I had a major concussion. Every muscle in my body ached really, really badly to the point where it stung. It felt like I was being stabbed every time stepping down. He had over 120 pounds of gear on him when he got hit. I had 137 pounds of gear on me when we were hit. I had to haul his 345-pound carcass out of the kill zone, 50 feet away, under fire. That is where I received this medal right here. This is called the Navy Marine Corps Achievement Medal, and that's where I got the V for Valor, for distinguishing combat service. Without me, that man would be dead right now. There would have been no way he could have survived. He was so badly injured and losing blood so very fast that had I decided to give up because it got tough, had I decided to, oh, I'm injured, so I'll just stay put, this man would be dead. This is my brother in arms. He will forever be my brother. He is like family to me. He now lives in Montana. All right, he's doing great things with his life. He is blind in his right eye, completely deaf in his right ear, and has lost a lot of feeling in his right arm. And he'll be that way the rest of his life. There is no reversing it. We still keep in contact, and we have, I'm sure you've heard it probably through the social media, a live day for veterans. A live day is the day that we were literally almost dead, but survived. And that was July 11th, 2012. It was a day I'll never forget. Never forget. That was the 5th IED I'd been hit by in my entire 7-year service in the Marine Corps. Could you go ahead and hit the next one? This is, I'm the one shooting one of the guys in the back of the head with my fingers. Me and him didn't get along that well, but we had to for the sake of our deployment. My squad leader, and then the rest are all junior Marines. This was the M249 squad automatic weapon I was talking about. That's Lance Corporal Husby. He's carrying it. One of the greatest saw gunners I've ever met. These guys, this was our second deployment. We were in Jordan, the country of Jordan, doing training with the Jordanian military. Like I said, the only time we ever saw anything remotely close to combat was the Somali pirate incident off the Horn of Africa, just outside the Strait of Hormuz. And then go ahead and go to the next one, you could. After my return from Afghanistan, he was also awarded the same medal for different reasons, but refused to accept it unless I pinned it on him. This was in 2013. This was the last day I saw him in camis. The very last day I saw him in camis. That's what we call the Marine pattern that you see there. It was a great honor to be able to pin it on him. His parents were there. And it was great to be able to see a father and a mother get to stand and be proud of their son. Because like I said before, if it wasn't for the training I received in the Marine Corps, and the mentality that me and him both had, he wouldn't have been standing there today, and I'd be pinning that medal on a ghost or a grave. So I think that's all, right? Oh, that's my retirement ceremony. That's my squad leader that I served with in Iraq, Staff Sergeant Mangio. And that is another brother of mine. Funny story really quick, so we can continue with questions. Me and him never liked each other all the way through SOI. We hated each other, as a matter of fact. We got in several fights, got in the same unit. I begged and pleaded for anybody to not put me in the same squad as him. I was put in the same fire team as he was. So we were forced to bond. Took some time, but he also was injured in Iraq. His right shoulder no longer stays in its socket, so he had to have several pins and hinges and stuff put into his right shoulder. Kind of the same instance, I had to drag him out of a house that was wired with a grenade. He was very fortunate that when he went through, the grenade shrapnel shredded most of what was in furniture that was stacked up by the door when we had kicked it in. And he didn't receive almost at all, if any, shrapnel. But the concussion and the kickback from the furniture itself hit him so hard in the shoulder that you could literally hear the pop over the entire blast. It was so bad. I was the first man through the door. They blew it. When he went in, he was the second man. And he was the saw gunner for our fire team. His name is now Sergeant Gregory. And yes, you will meet people in the Marine Corps that you don't like. You train long enough with them in a squad bay, which is just rows of beds, and that's your living area. You learn to like them, and you learn to love them, because in the end of the day, this man saved my ass more times than I can count, as did I to him. He had my back over there. If it wasn't for him, I might not be standing here talking to you all today. And vice versa with this young man right here. No, he's not young anymore. We looked young once. That is obviously me. I have my folded flag at home. I'm sure you've all seen it before, that's why I didn't bring it. But my official retirement date was January 30th, 2014. And that was the last day of active service that I had before I was medically separated. I think that's it now, right?
Yep, that's it.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do your next question, but I'm gonna pass these around so you guys can take a look at them. Start with Bryce. We'll start over here. So this is Iraqi money. I didn't know that actually Iraq had money. And when I saw it, I was like, wow, look at that. So I got my hands on a few. They're gonna go ahead and pass them around. Take your time, observe them, look at them. That's a piece of history you're never gonna see again. They changed those bills. That is the last time you'll probably ever see those bills, ever. So.
The whole inside of this thing from that.
Yeah, I was shot at by a sniper. Almost hit the gas tank, killed me. Ooh. Yep. I was in Al-Assad, Iraq during that time for a 3-week operation where we were mortared continuously every day.
Okay. The next question is, tell me about a couple of your most memorable experiences.
Well, July 11, 2012 was one of them. I'll never forget that day. A lot of experiences I have. There are so many. Like most young men, I was rough, young, and dumb. I think we all get to that stage. Regardless if you're a man or woman, I think you have to be young and dumb. And the reason for that is because that's how we learn. I did a lot of stupid ass things in the Marine Corps that I don't ever regret. And the reason is because I learned very, very strongly from them. One of them was kind of more of a mental game that I learned with the Marine Corps. This is probably something I cherish, and I definitely love flaunting about myself because I picked it up at a very early age and very quickly. In the Marine Corps, you can do great things. You can be badass 100% of the time, never get in trouble, do awesome, do amazing, do great. No one cares. In the Marine Corps, no one cares. You save a life, awesome. He wasn't ordered to die, so you did exactly what you were supposed to do. One of the things that I learned is in order to be able to be recognized. Now this doesn't have anything to do with school, so do not go around telling your teachers, oh, Spencer the veteran told us to do this because it will get us somewhere. No, it won't. This happened in the Marine Corps and it worked out in my favor, very fortunately. I wasn't being recognized for the good things I was doing, and I was kind of getting upset because I was really busting my ass trying really hard to get ahead of my peers, as is competition. So I got in trouble. I got caught speeding, and I told my staff sergeant about it, and I got yelled at. Now they call it shit duty for a reason. You're cleaning toilets, raking leaves, and doing all the yard work. Now the yard work in the Marine Corps, when I was in, means that you go outside with a ruler and you put it down to the ground, very level, and you cut the grass with scissors. I should have brought those. They're little scissors, sewing scissors, and you cut it 3 inches high, and it literally goes this slow. Must be 3 inches. If you take a look outside there, that's about how big the lawn was I had to do. It took me an entire week. Okay? It's called hazing, and it happened in the Marine Corps. Here's the difference. I didn't mind it, because our enemy, if captured, was going to do a lot worse to us. I needed to be able to instill with that discipline. But here's what it did for me. This is the most memorable thing. You're called, well, there's no other term to say it, so forgive my French, called a shitbag if you do something bad. And you're a shitbag for the next 3 weeks. You will have every bad detail they can think of. They will literally conjure things up. I had my squad leader go out and throw trash all over just because he saw me sitting down. He went and threw trash all over the front lawn, and I had to pick it up with my feet and put it into the trash can. Now, I had boots on, so I had to use both boots and put it into the trash can. It was very difficult. Here's what it did for me, though. I got in trouble. I was known as a shitbag, but it put me in the spotlight. Now everyone's attention was focused on me. So the only thing I had to do was not mess up. And I did that. I did exactly what I was doing beforehand. And lo and behold, 3.5 months, 4 months later, I was meritoriously, meaning above my normal average time in, meritoriously promoted to corporal among my peers. That was probably one of the most memorable times because the look on my peers' faces were of hate that I had won and they had not. Life in the Marine Corps is not fair at all. Every day is not fair. There is nothing fair about what you're going to do in the Marine Corps. Everything is unfair. Everything is against you. And that is exactly how they want it because that is exactly what is required in war. War is not time out time. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll meet back together here in 30 minutes. It's not how it works. They hit you when you're most vulnerable. They hit you when you least expect it. They hit you when you're complacent. So in the Marine Corps training, they make sure that those things are emphasized so that way you don't end up with a flag draped over your coffin coming home.
So how did you entertain yourself? Like sometimes it got boring.
Oh, interesting. Let's see, levels of appropriateness for high school. Well, a lot of it had to do with getting other people to do stupid stuff. You've seen, have any of you seen a YouTube video of a Marine getting drop kicked while wearing his happy plate? Yeah. Okay, we did that long before that video ever came out. That was common. We would gear up and duct tape pillows onto broom handles and fight with them. There's a lot of stupid things we did. A lot of stupid things. Mostly we worked out a lot. We were in the gym a lot and sleeping. Believe it or not, sleeping was entertaining for us, especially when you go 2-3 days without any sleep. It's very nice to do that. Other than that, overseas you can't drink. There's no drinking period whatsoever. Doesn't matter what age you are. Doesn't occur. So you have to find other ways of entertainment. I mean, I would tell you outright that I did drink when we got home. You know, it's a release. It's a way out. But typically your brothers, the ones you serve next to, your brothers and sisters in uniform, are your entertainment. If you can get them to do some funny stuff, they're going to do some funny stuff. Especially if you get new guys in, you can fill up the entire shower room with soap and play ice hockey. Well, it's not really well, it was ice hockey. The water was very cold. But you know, you get them in their PT gear, which is like the short shorts for those of you who play rugby. You know what I'm talking about. And you get them in their top, and you go out and buy a couple plastic kitty hockey sticks, and then you just sit there and watch a hockey game for the next however long until someone gets hurt and you have to cover it up. So that was mostly our entertainment, was the younger Marines.
Would your sergeant get mad at that for you guys doing that?
Oh yes,
Really?
oh yes. You had to hide it very carefully.
Gotcha.
And when you're being entertained, you forget that people are watching. However, you do get some sergeants. My squad leader was not like that, but Sergeant Mack, who he went on my Fallujah deployment. That was his 3rd time in Fallujah. He'd be so mad if I ever said. He was right next to us watching and laughing as well. So he was kind of enjoying the entertainment. What you got to understand though is it's a very stressful environment, the Marine Corps. It's extremely stressful, a lot of mental stress, a lot of mental conditioning. There are releases, there are safe ways of doing it, and if you want to do it safely, join the Air Force or the Navy or the Army or the Coast Guard. But if you want to live a little dangerously at all times, go ahead and join the Marine Corps. They call us crayon eaters. I say we only eat the bright crayons because the dark ones are left for everybody else. But despite what you hear, there are a lot of smart Marines. Anybody know who the first American was in space?
I think he was Marine.
Anybody know? It's open to anybody.
But Neil Armstrong? No.
He was the first man on the moon. John Glenn. First American in space. Do you know who John Glenn was?
Marine.
He was a Marine. Alright, so Marines do great things. Marines can be rocket scientists. I am not a rocket scientist, except for if it's those little ones that shoot up into the air and then you gotta run because they're technically legal light off. Didn't know that until the cop showed up with my rocket at the door and I was like, oh, well, you know, John Glenn did it. But that excuse doesn't work either. But yeah, hopefully that answered your question.
Next one, was there something special you did for good luck, or if you had like a good luck charm?
Honestly, I prayed. Now, I'm not a religious man. I don't necessarily believe in religion, and I won't get too much into why. But I do believe in God. I don't know if He had a purpose for me or not, but I'm alive for a reason. I don't know what that reason was exactly. Maybe I'm still trying to find it. But God was who I turned to. And when you're facing certain death almost, you'll turn to anything for confidence. And I think out of all, I took my training seriously. That for good luck, I reevaluated my training. I make sure I memorized everything. Because at the end of the day, what I feared the most other than dying was the shame in the eyes of my brothers for not fighting along with them. Even to this day, if I'm not working hard or hard as the guy next to me and they're giving me the look of like, dude, what's your problem? That's fearful to me. I really believe that if your brothers and sisters in arms are giving their all, that no matter what you're going through, you give your all as well. And so for good luck, we do a pep talk. The same thing you guys kind of do if you play sports and you rally up beforehand. We did the same thing as Marines. A little more vulgar and probably a lot more violent than what you guys do out there on the basketball court or volleyball court or soccer field or football field. But we had to be that way. When you go overseas, you have to learn to shut off certain emotions. There are emotions that can't happen during certain times, like compassion. You can't have compassion for people that are wounded because the enemy is still out there. The time for compassion of wounded people comes after the enemy is gone. And it's very tough to see, especially when they're kids dying on the streets. And I've seen that before. These terrorists, which are still out there, have used kids before. Probably one of the worst events I had ever seen, and I had to prepare myself for as much as I could, but no matter what you do, you can never be prepared. They strapped an IED under a 4-year-old's tricycle and blew it up. So those are the people we had to fight. Those are the people that don't care about you, don't care about me, don't care about their own people, and let alone care about themselves, because they're willing to strap a vest on and blow themselves up. But they do it for their belief. All right, so when I say I believe in God, I believe it has a huge role to play in it. Whether you believe in God or not, perfectly fine, but believe in something. You need to believe in something, because belief in something is what gives you the drive to continue to thrive. All right, and the moment you give up your belief, the moment you quit on yourself, and it gets too hard, it gets too tough, and you just can't do it anymore, you can. That's the best time to do it, because we're all going to have ups and downs in life. And over on deployments, you have ups and downs every single day. You lose friends, you lose brothers and sisters, and you don't get to talk to your family much. A lot of it was letter writing, for me at least. So you got to find ways to maintain positivity. You know, my beliefs were multiple. One in belief in my family. My brother, I wanted to return home to see my younger brother. And he looked up to me, called me Rambo. I told him to stop because I was Army. Didn't appreciate it. But at the same time, I understood his meaning. He didn't understand the difference. I did. But I would keep his letters in Iraq, and I would read them over and over and over again, especially if I lost friends. I would try to remind myself of why I was fighting, why I was over there taking the heat, why I was over there doing things that 99% of America can't do. Only 1% of America is actually in the military. 1% of each branch is only in the infantry. So that's a very small percentage of individuals going over there to do something that humans have been doing for the dawn of time. War never changes. It's the same. Blood, dying, and living with what happened. And it will never change.
So after your service, what did you do after that's kind of, did you like go back to work or school?
Well, you know, I tried school. Wasn't for me. Just kind of like high school wasn't for me. I did graduate with a high school diploma, but I've never been academically, I should say, receptive. I just could not do exactly what I'm doing right now. Coincidence. I couldn't stand up here. I can stand up here and talk all day, but I couldn't sit there and listen. For me, it was, my brain was just not wired that way. So I got in a lot of trouble. Found out in college. I did Portland Community College to start because I didn't know really what I wanted to do. I lasted 1 quarter and got out because I realized that they're just not for me. Instead, I pursued volunteering in some of the organizations, the hats that I got up here, and a couple of the badges that I got up here. 2 of which I am heavily involved with. One, I am kind of like a outside additional support. One is the Veterans of Foreign War post back in Scappoose. I still go back to Scappoose and hang out with them. The other one is Military Order of the Purple Heart in Portland, and the American Legion in Newburgh. I sprawled myself out because I realized after I got out, I learned a little bit about VA benefits, and I won't bore you guys with it, but a lot of Vietnam veterans weren't getting their benefits, a lot of Korean veterans weren't getting their benefits, and so I pursued to help them get what they rightfully deserved and had fought for. And I also pursued getting homeless veterans off the street, and I still do that to this day. So, and I coach rugby.
So, did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Yes. Military experience was definitely an eye-opener. Before Call of Duty ever came out, it was called Medal of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
I had the same mindset. I was like, oh, dude, this is awesome. Not so much when you get there. You realize it's a lot of hard work. My mentality definitely changed on war, but I will say when I was growing up in the 90s, there wasn't really a lot of live TV war movies, and video games, they were still kind of iffy about like in-action war games that you see today. So I didn't have a lot of upbringing with wartime graphic movies or video games. When I got into war for the first time, I realized it's absolutely, like I said before, not what I would have expected in any way, shape, or form. It's definitely something that'll stick with you the rest of your life. If you do decide to ever enlist during a time of war, you must come to the understanding that you're gonna come out a different person. A lot of people, when I got back from Iraq, said I was completely different. And war changes you. The military even changes you. And you can either do one of two things. You can let it change you for the worst, or you can let it change you for the better. It may start out as worse, but anything that goes down comes up, and anything goes up comes down. All right, you got to find that flat line, find the even. It takes time. But my military experience, my war experience, I think it made quite a substantial, if not crater-like impact in my life, even to the day. It instilled me with discipline. It instilled me with a drive never to quit. Anyone who ever knows me, one of my famous lines is challenge accepted, because I don't like backing down from challenges. I consider every challenge a learning experience. Even if I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, bring it on. Like, if I fail, so what? If you only remember me for my failures, then you're a failure in your own right. But I'm a successful person in my own right because of my failures, and the military taught me that. You can fail all you want, which is fine, but just don't let yourself fail a second time at the same object, because that means you're not learning as much as you are supposed to. So you make 2 mistakes in the same subject, you're not learning anything. You can fail multiple times in the same subject, but if you don't learn anything from that, you'll never succeed. And the military and war taught me that you push hard enough, you're determined hard enough, and you keep to it to the very end, the success will be great. And it's something that some people learn without the military. For me, I needed the military for me to understand that.
Do one more. Hey, why don't you do that last one?
How much time do we got left?
Under later years, and then I can go for this one.
What was it?
Just do that last question under the later years, and we'll be good.
Is there anything that you'd like to add that we have not covered in this interview?
Quite a number of things, but I know we're running short on time. One of the things I would say is, I learned this from speaking with Vietnam vets. I learned this with speaking from the generation that fought before me in the same war. Everything is not what you hear. Everything's not what you see. Nowadays, there are so many different media platforms you can get knowledge from. It's insane. I mean, we remember it being the Oregonians, where we got crossword puzzles. You know, cell phones didn't exist really in the 90s. So what I'm getting at essentially is everyone got their news from the news, right? If it was on TV, that's where you got it. Nowadays, there's such a broad spectrum, and that's why I came here today. You're hearing it from the horse's mouth, you know. We had a news group over in Iraq, and I'll tell you right now, what they reported did not match anything of what actually happened over there. Not saying that they were lying, but they only saw a small portion. They were with us for 4 days in the middle of winter. It was inaccurate reporting. I would say at least. So don't believe everything you hear. My understanding of it after being in the military, after getting out of the military and everything that's been going on all the way up to present day is this. If you believe it with your own eyes, and you believe it with your own ears, but you haven't actually researched it, then it's not true. It's not true till you deem it to be true through facts. If I'm here telling you my story, right? But the only person that's gonna know if any of what I've told you is true is me and the guys that I was with, right? Doesn't mean you can't believe, right? Now I have no reason to lie to you, and I don't see any reason to lie to you. But a lot of people out in the world do. You'll get veterans that do lie about service. You'll get people that pretend to be veterans, which is actually considered a felony. It's considered stolen valor, and I have yelled at quite a few people for doing that, because if you wear the uniform and never earned it, my friends died wearing that uniform. Unfortunately, sometimes I had to watch them die. And when someone disrespects that, that upsets me greatly. The thing is I also make sure that I got my facts straight. I ask for ID, they don't got it, well, I already know you're not a veteran, because all veterans carry some form of military ID on them almost at all times. But I would just say, keep doing what you're doing here. I think it's great what your teacher's doing here. Hopefully this kind of gives you guys a little bit of an eye-opener and understanding. I know you've talked to some previous vets before, some Vietnam vets. Believe it or not, in my opinion, Vietnam was the very first war on terror. They were fighting the same type of organized crime, organized terrorism, that we're fighting today, just in a different area. And you saw how that turned out. I'm sure you've done your history. A lot of Vietnam vets were treated very, very poorly when they got home. I was very fortunate that I didn't get treated as poorly as they did, but there was still the whole no blood for oil. There were still people protesting against the war. Understand this, it's not veterans that you should ever take your frustration out on. We're told to do something from our country. We have to adhere to orders. If we don't, our lives can get literally destroyed. But we sign up doing that, okay? If anything, get out and vote. They're the people that are giving these orders. But never ever take it out on veterans, because we're doing what we need to do, what we're told to do. And sometimes it's not easy. Do they have a little bit of time to come up and check this?
Yeah, that's why I stopped, so we just have to get a chance to go and take a look.
Hopefully that answered your question. Yeah, come up and check it out. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll be more than happy to